Had a great meeting today, actually, with the new prime minister, who's a terrific guy. And we had a very long session.
The president's travel ban could shake up international sporting events, including some in the Bay Area. Next year, the South Bay hosts the World Cup. And of course, LA is the home of the 2028 Olympics.
Since the beginning of the second Trump administration, we've seen a drop in overseas travelers coming to the U.S.
Which are meant to unite people from all over the world, now find themselves at the crossroads of politics, security, and international relations. In early June 2025, the Trump administration announced an expansion of its travel restrictions, affecting nationals from several countries flagged for vetting concerns. While the move was framed around security, emphasizing risk management and border control, the timing couldn't be worse. These new restrictions have landed directly in the middle of preparations for the 2026 World Cup and 2028 Olympics, two of the largest and most inclusive global events that rely on international participation both from athletes and fans. The policy affects athletes, coaches, officials, and essential staff who are allowed to enter the country through an exemption process. However, the real issue isn't just with the participants, it's the fans, journalists, vendors, and supporters who are integral to the event. For fans, the dream of attending a once-in-a-lifetime sporting event may be dashed by bureaucratic hurdles and visa complications. Imagine planning a journey to witness your country's team compete, only to find out that, despite having a valid ticket, visa issues might prevent you from entering the U.S. Even with all the passion in the world, your ability to join in the global celebration might be compromised due to policy restrictions. Event organizers have made it clear that they are committed to creating an inclusive and welcoming environment. Still, the signals to the public have been mixed. While officials emphasize security, many fans hear a message of exclusion. The reality is that the stakes of this issue go far beyond sports. The emotional, economic, and diplomatic consequences of travel restrictions could reshape how these global tournaments are experienced not just in the U.S., but worldwide. By mid-2025, the travel ban was expanded, affecting several countries with high vetting concerns. The announcement was presented as part of a broader effort to address national security risks, but the reality for fans, small businesses, and event organizers was more complex. Critics argue that the restrictions unfairly target ordinary travelers who pose no actual threat, while proponents of the policy believe that strong security is necessary to maintain the integrity of U.S. borders. This approach has direct consequences on the ability of people from restricted nations to experience the largest sporting events in the world. As we approach the 2026 World Cup, the pressure mounts. The policy now intersects with two of the world's most prominent athletic events that serve as symbols of inclusivity and global unity. The ripple effects are already being felt. Tournament organizers emphasize that athletes, coaches, and essential staff are exempt from these travel restrictions, but fans, the lifeblood of international competitions, still face uncertain futures. The standard B2 visa process has been a major bottleneck for international fans hoping to attend these tournaments. With visa backlogs stretching into months or even a year in some regions, those hoping to watch a group stage match may find themselves waiting too long, missing out on an opportunity to attend the tournament. The travel restrictions, combined with longer processing times, have led to massive uncertainty for fans who already face logistical challenges in securing their place at these monumental events. Fans must contend with flight changes, hotel booking deadlines, and ticket purchases that are tied to stringent identity checks and governmental processes. The typical travel planning timeline for an international event like this has been disrupted by a series of new hurdles, each one adding to the uncertainty of whether fans will even make it to the stadium. While ticket sales continue to increase and stadium construction moves forward, the atmosphere surrounding these events is becoming increasingly complex. Local tourism boards, which depend on accurate predictions of international visitor numbers, are struggling to adapt. They must plan for staffing restaurants, managing rideshare fleets, securing event security, and coordinating volunteer programs, all while dealing with a lack of clarity about how many international travelers will actually arrive. Without a clear and unified policy from the federal government, businesses and cities hosting the events are forced to operate in a state of uncertainty, unsure whether they should prepare for a global spectacle or a regional, scaled-back event. The issue of travel uncertainty is not just an economic concern. It also deeply affects the human dimension of these events. Fans aren't just individuals, they are part of a global community. Fans from the diaspora, for example, hope to bring their families to these tournaments to experience the thrill of the game and the excitement of their national teams. These trips are about connection, cultural exchange, and shared memories. But with the travel restrictions, many of these supporters face the possibility of being separated from their loved ones during these major international events. For amateur clubs or independent journalists, the opportunity to attend and document the games is also at risk. These groups rely on being able to cross borders and navigate the visa system without the looming threat of political interference. Whether it's bringing youth teams to watch their idols play or capturing the excitement of the tournament on camera, these individuals are an essential part of the tournament's cultural fabric. The economic impact of the restrictions is profound. National organizing bodies, tourism agencies, and local businesses have projected that the 2026 World Cup alone will attract millions of international spectators. These fans will spend money on flights, lodging, dining, retail, and entertainment. If even a fraction of this audience is diverted or detoured because of visa issues, the downstream effects will ripple across small businesses, service jobs, and tax receipts. As the 2026 World Cup and the 2028 Summer Olympics approach, organizers and local businesses are feeling the growing pressure from travel restrictions and visa delays. While some parts of the events, such as stadium construction and transit expansions, continue to move forward, many local businesses are hesitant to commit to long-term plans due to the uncertainty surrounding international attendance. For businesses that depend on the influx of international spectators such as hotels, restaurants, and transportation companies, this is a critical moment. They rely heavily on the projected influx of tourists for the revenue boost that these mega events bring. However, with no clear guidance from the federal government on visa policies and travel restrictions, many are left in limbo. Hotel chains, for instance, are having to adjust revenue forecasts, capacity plans, and even pricing strategies, all while attempting to prepare for a potential increase in demand. For airlines, the situation is equally challenging. With flight capacity already in flux and international bookings uncertain, airlines are now reassessing their strategies. Some may shift their flight capacity to other regions, particularly those co-hosting the event, such as Mexico and Canada, where fewer restrictions are expected. This can further disrupt travel patterns and affect the flow of spectators traveling to the U.S. The economic uncertainty created by the travel ban also has broader implications for sponsors. Many of the major global brands that sponsor these international events derive significant value from engaging with fans across the world. The multicultural audience, particularly from Africa, South Asia, Latin America, and the Middle East, has historically been integral to the success of sponsorship activations, creating opportunities for engagement and brand visibility. However, with increased restrictions on certain nations, these brands are forced to rethink their marketing strategies. Sponsors are now repositioning budgets to target co-host nations or regions with fewer restrictions. Yet, even with the reallocation of resources, brand activations lose their power when the audience is smaller and less diverse. The goal of these mega events isn't just to host a competition, it's to create a global celebration that brings people from all corners of the world together. When barriers to entry are imposed, the event loses its essence of inclusivity, and this is something that sponsors and organizers cannot ignore. This dynamic is further complicated by the human element. For many fans, attending global sporting events isn't just about watching the game. It's about cultural connection, community pride, and the shared experience of being part of something larger than themselves. Many fans travel with family, friends, and cultural groups, with dreams of seeing their teams play in person. For the diaspora communities, these events are a rare opportunity to celebrate their heritage and connect with others from their homeland. However, the current travel restrictions may prevent these fans from crossing the border. For amateur clubs, youth teams, and independent journalists who plan to document and capture the spirit of the event, the roadblock is even more significant. These groups are crucial for telling the story of global sports, yet they find themselves caught in the bureaucratic process that makes it harder for them to attend. The economic impact is not just about lost ticket sales. These mega events are a massive financial engine, with local tourism, airlines, hotels, and small businesses all relying on the influx of international visitors. The The spending from millions of spectators is crucial to the economic vitality of the host cities. But with many international fans unable to get visas, this economic windfall could be severely reduced. This ripple effect is already being felt. Airlines, for instance, may reallocate aircraft capacity to other regions with fewer travel restrictions, which will directly impact flight availability and pricing. Hotel chains may alter their revenue forecasts, adjusting for fewer international bookings. Service industries, from restaurants to retail to transportation providers, are caught in the same uncertainty. In terms of long-term effects, this policy also impacts global sports sponsorships. Major brands like Nike, Coca-Cola, and Adidas depend on the multicultural fan base that attends these events. Fan activations, advertisements, and product promotions are all part of the sponsorship package. However, with fewer international fans allowed to attend, the value of these sponsorships could diminish, making it more difficult for brands to engage with the diverse audience they originally targeted. For municipal leaders, the stakes are high. Cities like Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Miami rely on tourism and event-related revenue to fuel their local economies. Local tourism boards depend on accurate attendance projections to plan for adequate staffing, security, and hospitality services. Without clarity on travel policies, local businesses are reluctant to hire, and restaurants and shops are hesitant to stock up on inventory, fearing that there may not be enough customers to justify the expense. While cities continue stadium construction and transportation improvements, the soft signals such as hotel bookings, ticket sales, and tourism inquiries are more complicated. There's a growing sense of uncertainty that is not only affecting businesses, but also volunteers and staffing plans for these events. As businesses wait for clearer guidance, the event's success is at risk of being undermined by the political uncertainty tied to the travel restrictions. As the situation continues to evolve, the logistical complexities surrounding the 2026 World Cup and 2028 Summer Olympics grow ever more significant. The travel restrictions imposed by the Trump administration, while framed as a necessary measure for national security, are starting to affect much more than just the ability to attend events. The ripple effects are shaking the very infrastructure that these events rely on, from ticket sales to local businesses and beyond. For fans, the issues are becoming personal. Many of the dream trips planned for these global celebrations are now in jeopardy. Individuals and families who had hoped to experience the thrill of international sport are now facing the harsh reality of visa denials, processing delays, and rising uncertainty. What once seemed like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to attend the World Cup or the Olympics is slipping away as bureaucratic hurdles prevent them from entering the U.S., even if they have valid tickets and a lifelong love of the game. Event organizers are working to ensure that athletes, coaches, and essential staff can enter the U.S. without disruption. However, for the general public, the process is far more complex. The standard visitor visa system has become a bottleneck, with wait times extending for months, and in some cases, nearly a year. The backlog, combined with changing rules and new documentation requirements, means that the experience of attending these tournaments will no longer be as accessible for many fans. The question becomes, how much of this will change the atmosphere of the events themselves? Global tournaments are meant to be celebrations of unity and inclusivity, where fans from around the world come together to support their teams, share experiences, and form lifelong memories. However, the more these restrictions limit access, the more the event risks becoming regionalized, reducing its global reach and diluting its impact. For the host cities, the financial stakes are enormous. Los Angeles, San Francisco, and other cities that will host events like the Olympics or World Cup rely heavily on the influx of international tourists to drive their economies. This includes everything from hotel bookings, restaurant revenues, tax receipts, and even retail sales. When international visitors are unable to attend, these streams of income dwindle. The economic ripple effect of this will be felt in the pockets of local businesses, service providers, and workers who depend on the rare financial windfall these events bring. Airlines, too, are caught in this uncertainty. Flight schedules, which are usually planned well in advance, are now up in the air. As visa policies tighten, airlines may choose to reallocate capacity to other regions with fewer restrictions. If fewer international fans can attend the U.S. events, airlines might shift focus to other co-host nations like Canada or Mexico. This further complicates the logistics for spectators who are trying to plan their travel. Similarly, hotel chains are also adjusting their revenue forecasts to account for the unpredictability surrounding attendance. At the global sponsorship level, brands are feeling the tension. The large global brands that sponsor these events derive significant value from multicultural fan engagement. When fans from diverse regions like Africa, South Asia, and Latin America are unable to attend, it's not just the event that loses out, but the sponsors too. They invest in these global tournaments to engage with a wide audience, using advertising, activations, and promotions to reach people from all over the world. However, the more the audience is restricted by national borders, the less effective these sponsorships become. This shift has a domino effect on everything from marketing strategies to advertising budgets. Brands that once focused on the diverse, multicultural fan base attending the games are now finding themselves having to rethink their approaches. Many sponsors may be forced to reallocate their resources to more restricted markets, shifting their budgets away from global reach in favor of more localized, less diverse audiences. This further dilutes the global unity that the games are supposed to represent. Sponsors now have to tread a fine line, balancing brand values with the safety concerns of global travel restrictions. While sponsors and event organizers adjust, the host cities continue to brace for an unpredictable financial future. Tourism agencies and local governments in places like Los Angeles are left waiting for clearer direction on travel policies. Without solid guidance, they can't predict how many international tourists will arrive or how to allocate their resources. Security, volunteer programs, and event logistics all hinge on the ability to accurately forecast crowd sizes. And when those predictions are unreliable, the preparation process becomes a high-risk gamble. For cities like Los Angeles, the stakes are higher. They must continue preparing for the Olympics in 2028 while navigating the unpredictable visa system and the fluctuating numbers of international visitors. Local businesses, especially those in the tourism sector, will be affected the most, as they rely on tourists filling their restaurants, hotels, and entertainment venues. If fewer international visitors are able to attend, the loss of revenue could be devastating, leaving many businesses struggling to recover. On a more personal level, fans are not just people coming to watch a match. They are communities of supporters, and this is where the travel restrictions have an even more profound effect. For diaspora fans, the opportunity to attend these games is not just about seeing their favorite team play, it's about reconnecting with family, sharing in the pride of their heritage, and celebrating their identity on a global stage. For many fans, this is their chance to bring their parents, siblings, or friends to a foreign country to see their national anthem played in a stadium. The emotional impact of this policy shift is significant. It's not just about being unable to attend a game, it's about disconnection. For families planning to reunite, for amateur clubs hoping to support their teams, and for cultural ambassadors who want to witness history in person, this restriction could shatter those dreams. The travel ban might turn a global celebration into a regional event, stripping the occasion of its intended inclusivity. The economic fallout from these restrictions could also extend to small businesses. The tourism sector, including restaurants, shops, and transportation services, depends heavily on the influx of tourists during major events. With fewer international spectators, businesses could face financial strain, leading to fewer jobs and reduced community vitality. Local economies thrive on these events, and without that financial boost, many areas could struggle to recover.